Hello from me and Fitz, aka the business fixer, me, not the dog. So today I want to talk to you about marketing activities, and I'd be interested to know, and please do share this in the comments, in terms of what marketing activities are you using in your business and what are the activities that are working for you, because there is such a wide range out there. And the key thing with what you're ultimately trying to achieve with your marketing activities is lead generation, and different businesses, different industries, certain activities will work better than others. So I want to know from you, what do you use? So what I want to share with you is also some of the things that I use. And I've been reading this great book recently called $100 Million Leads by a guy called Alex Hermosi. And he came into I learned about him only really in recent months, where somebody had suggested watching a YouTube video of his, which I did, and then he's just recently launched this book. And it's actually really an interesting book, because he talks about the core four. And what do I mean, or what does he mean by the core four? And the core four talks about warm outreach, it talks about content, and it talks about cold outreach, and it talks about paid ads, right? Now, the activities that I have described with the post that's linked to this particular live talks about a number of different things, and they can form a certain degree of that can form into those core four. But what I found really interesting with the core four is, by breaking it down in that way, it's talking about where you're marketing to people who may already know you, and whether you're marketing on a one-to-one basis, or whether you are marketing to people in a group basis who may already know you, compared to marketing on a one-to-one basis to people who don't know you at all, and compared to then a group basis where they don't know you at all. In essence, that's what he's trying to teach in the core four. And in terms of the warm outreach, how many of you actually message friends and family and say, do you know anybody who would be interested in what I offer? Because often, I think sometimes as business owners, we're often afraid to actually go to the people that are in our closest network to actually say to them, do you know anybody? Or even actually, I've seen it where business owners, where their family and their friends don't even actually know what they do in their business. And you're like, well, if they don't know what you do, they might be going to somebody else and they need your service because they don't know what you're doing. So, I actually think you've obviously got to be very careful in terms of how you approach it, because you don't want to annoy your friends because you're bombarding them with effectively what sales messages. But there is no harm in actually just kind of touching base and checking in and seeing how they're doing, and just saying, look, I'm doing this particular thing. I don't know whether you know anybody who might be interested in this thing. And you're just kind of dropping the seed in there. And I think that's something that, we all could be doing. Then you've got obviously your social content. So, social media marketing is a huge opportunity. And, there are so many different platforms in which you can potentially be using to be able to just talk about what you do and how you do it, and sharing value. The most important thing that you can be doing is doing thought leadership. And part of the reason why I go on live on video here is because I want to be giving you value. I want to be giving you hints and tips that you can immediately be putting into your business to be able to make changes. So that's the whole point of marketing is, yes, obviously you're ultimately wanting to end up with a lead, an inquiry, but actually, you're giving value. The more value that you give, the more people are going to then know, like, and trust you, and therefore they're more likely to, in the end, buy from you. So, in terms of the content, are you doing consistent content on social media? And what platforms are you particularly focusing on? And obviously that is also ties into what's referred to as content marketing, because your content marketing, that is where you're doing your thought leadership. So with social media content, social media marketing, you can do such a wide breadth of types of posts, but content marketing really does kind of tie into your social media, because that's where I'm saying to you about giving value. And that's the same with things like video marketing. Video marketing to me can be, it again all ties into your social media. So rather than breaking it down into, yes, I've broken it down in that list of different types of marketing activities that you can do, but a lot of them fall into social media, in terms of, because you're effectively creating video content that is going on social media. Video content might obviously, of course, go elsewhere. So then we move to the cold outreach. And I think for many business owners, the cold outreach is something that fills them with dread, because it just can be, when you're receiving so many sales emails, DMs in LinkedIn, and they just go for the jugular. And I think this is where it comes down to the style in which you're using in terms of doing your direct contact. Now, email marketing may work, and I have heard stories where it has worked. For me personally, I'm not a massive fan of it, because, to be perfectly honest, if people email me, I ignore it most of the time. And I think to myself, well, I'm effectively my own ideal client. So if I'm ignoring it, am my ideal client going to ignore it? So you have to do what you feel comfortable in doing. So if email marketing is something you are comfortable in the sense of cold outreach, I would always be an advocate for email marketing that is in the warm outreach, where you've got people have already given you their contact details, and you've dropped them into your long-term warming up sequence, where you're giving them the value, which is what I've talked about, I think, the other day on lives. If you're giving doing that, that's very different to the cold outreach. And then, of course, you've got paid ads. And I personally find that Facebook ads have been a game changer for my business. And I think actually often you can get some quicker wins, particularly if you're a newer business. But that is dependent on you being very clear in terms of what your offer is, in terms of the problems that you're solving, and what your marketing message is, and who your target audience. Because if you're not clear on those things, then that's where you can spend a lot of money on ads. And ads, the thing with it is you have to accept that it is a bit of trial and error. You'll be playing around with it. You may get a heap of leads that might not necessarily be at the level that you require them to be. So there is you have to be prepared to spend money and lose money with ads. So tell me, what do you use? Are you using things like search engine optimization? Are you using your website to its the full benefits? Are you putting blogs on your website which have been ultimately optimized? Because ultimately I'm a very big believer in the principles laid down by Marcus Sheridan in the book They Ask, You Answer. Because ultimately and I'm using the word ultimately a lot, I'm realizing, is that in that book, it's teaching you that if you answer the questions that your ideal clients have, and you've answered the majority of those questions before they've even spoken to you, you have a greater chance of the sale actually concluding, because they don't then have any more, they don't have much more that they need to actually speak to you about, and therefore you've built that whole know, like and trust. So that's where I think the blogging side is really, really relevant, and that ties into both content marketing and in terms of SEO. And a lot of people with SEO, search engine optimization, people don't actually understand it, and it can come across as being something that's quite complicated. Actually, the more I've learned about it, the more I've realised it's not as complicated as what you may think. So make sure that you find out about it. And then you've got, in terms of event marketing, are you running events where people could be attending? Again, the thing is with that, you can run ads to that type of marketing, but you can also be sending an invitation out to your existing business contacts. So there's a whole host of particular activities that you can be doing. And the question I have is, what ones are you actually doing? What is actually working for you? Because the one thing, and I'm even guilty of it, is I'm not doing enough marketing, not by any stretch of the imagination. I should be doing way more than what I am. So what are you doing? What is working? What do you feel like you should be doing? And I would love to hear your comments. So please do share, and I look forward to hearing them. And of course, if any of this has resonated with you, or you know people that you think this might really benefit, please do share the videos. The more that you share, the more then I can help other people and get that value out there. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and thanks again, and I will see you all very soon. Take care now.